it's fascinating to me how much can be done with so little, so few resources, whether it's, your cell phone, which by the way, everyone walking around with one of these, you have a micro television network in your pockets if you choose to see it as such and harness it as
Right.
such
Right.
on all the various different platforms. But so much can be done with the tools and the resources that are out there. It's just like, are you above, using these tools and resources, or can you humble yourself to say, yeah, I can work with, my laptop, or I can work with that webcam, or that the cell phone in that case, and
Right.
I can do something with these basic things, you know what I mean? And then I don't know, dude, like I know I'd become a broken record after a certain point because I get so excited and hyped and fascinated by just, these concepts of how much you can do with, very few resources and whatnot. I'm going to cut myself off right there, dude. So go ahead and jump in. Oh, Lucy's right behind you. Look at that.
She left. Yeah, we talked about this before, is that the truth is that the grassroots level, she's back, the content is what's important more than the production quality.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you need to be able to understand what the actors are saying. and certainly, the lighting, it's got to be, presentable enough to get the message across, whatever you're doing. But, the truth at the end of the day, that I as a writer, I say this, the most important thing I do as a creator is to write good, write good content.
Yeah.
And I mean, the amount of time, I usually do probably 5 or 6 drafts. I'll write a rough draft that I think's got some humor in it. But then I go back and I try to make practically every couple lines. If I was a stand-up comic, this is a sitcom, and but if you were a stand-up comic with this, could you say these lines and make people laugh? And like you just really, the time that goes into that is really more. I think I get more out of it. The project is more reliable. It relies more on what happens there than any other part of it. It's easy to go and the actor does a line. Okay, but try it this way.
Yeah.
You're done. I mean, that was so an extra 5 seconds, but you might spend a half hour, an hour trying to get 3 lines in writing to get, it's not quite working right, and you keep working at it. I think that is very important to start, because I've been with people who, for some reason, think because they created it, it must be hilarious. like a lady on the spot.
What was
because
that?
they created it, so it must be hilarious.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, how about if we do this? And you're like, well, yeah, there's kind of something there, but that's not it yet. And I'm like, but they're so like, okay, you just, all right, yeah, that's what you want to do. Go ahead. But
I think it goes back to the quality of the content and the value that you're bringing to the table. Because if you are bringing value, then, if you have a 4K camera, or if it's the lowest grade of HD at 720, like, honestly, dude, like, who cares? Because if it's a piece of content that is still going to make me smile and happy, like the early YouTube videos that I check out every now and then just to go back, down memory lane, they look like crap now if you really look at them. But the thing is that the content itself and the concepts are hilarious, despite the production value being absolute crap. But I still love them because they still bring me value, they still bring me joy, they put a smile on my face. And so that's what I think, having a good camera, the good basic gear, are those things important? Sure. But what's more important than that is, what are you doing with those things? Are you providing me great value? Are you putting a smile on my face? Are you making me laugh? And
right.
That's what I think matters infinitely more than, like, I've got this camera and I've got these lenses.
Yeah. It's not a question. I mean, like they say, it'd be great to have all the top of the line gear.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary. That's the point. It's not necessary to have that. It's just, you talk about old content. I mean, I was in a doctor's office a few years ago, and they had, I don't know, TV Land. I don't know what was on the TV, but the Dick Van Dyke Show came on. Now, most of the shows back in the day are pretty corny. If you watch them, you can't believe that you watched them way back.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, but I tell you, it was so well written, I was cracking up. I mean, it was a show from the 60s, and it was so, I was like, wow, they really, you could have taken that humor today and filmed it today, and it would have been, as good as anything on, Big Bang. And it was just, the writers really nailed it. The actors nailed it. And so the production quality didn't matter. People in that room were laughing. And we're in a doctor's office. It's not exactly a fun time. So yeah,
Well,
it's it's an interesting time to be a creator, I think, today. You know.
and I think it goes back to the same reason. All of this ties back to, like, for example, why when issues of society and politics come up, and we all have, if not an opinion, at least we've all observed the world around us, especially now with COVID-19. But the thing is that why do you think there are certain waves, and not you as in you, Dave, but like just people in general, there are reasons behind why, for example, those George Carlin videos will come back in waves. Why? Because something's going on with healthcare currently right now. Oh, he said something about healthcare back in 2000, and I don't know what, let's say his show was like 2008 or 7,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
he passed away. Somebody takes one of those clips in not the 16:9, but rather the 4:3 little square, right? And that still doesn't matter, because what he's saying in that show is still relevant. And so
right.
I think that's the brilliance behind George Carlin, is that he said things back in the day that apply to today, and these things, like, will resurface. These short clips about these topics will resurface because, despite it being 4:3, despite it being barely maybe HD,
Hmm.
it's still super relevant, because the content has like, what he's saying, the actual things that he's saying has value. And I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by
Yeah,
that. Like you said, it's a very interesting time to be a creator, because of the value that people are figuring out how to bring to the table. Even despite COVID-19, we have to be inside and all social distancing. As I just touched my face to my mouth again, horrible example, but it is fascinating. It's very fascinating, and so I think people should always take a look at the resources that they have at their disposal. However amazing a camera or a cell phone you have, or however not amazing a camera or a cell phone you have.
right,
Um,
right. Well, I think another resource that probably could be, I'm going to try to put, I'll say better utilized, but it's just the community you live in. There's a lot of
yes,
other filmmakers, and
yeah,
I mean, I would like to see more collaboration. There's a couple people here that I, work with more for advice, but sometimes some technical help. I think it would help the local film community to be there for each other much more than we are. We probably get. I mean, this is life as an artist. You get that tunnel vision of your vision. This is my project, and the truth is, we'd probably be all better off if we all help each other out, more.
yeah,
I've been looking for that, and I know it's not in human nature in general to step aside from your own project for a while to help someone else. It's just the way we're wired. But in order to, I look back at the music scene in Seattle way back in the '90s when all those bands, the Pearl Jam, they all rose up out of
yeah,
that. One band coming out of that, created the world to go, hey, the music world? Hey, what's going on over there in Seattle? And all these bands got signed. And I look in Tucson and think, we're a big enough city to have, quite a diversity of actors and filmmakers here. If we can get one project to rise up, I think it would bring attention to all the other ones that are going around it. And,
I agree.
we don't know who that project is. I mean, hey, it's mine. Well, I don't know if it's mine.
Yeah,
But there's certainly something here that I think could be put on a much more, bigger stage than just Tucson, and and would hold its own. And that was what I've been trying to do. I've been behind the scenes now for a couple of months, and then of course, Corona's kind of put an end to networking and all that. But is to try to put a team together to push projects from Tucson, up higher into the to world realm, and hopefully maybe get someone that gets the million views on YouTube.
yeah.
So that's here. It's just unfortunately right now it's a little but doing what you and I are doing right now is about as close as we can get to that kind of thing right now. But
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay, because at least we're still doing something. We're still creating content. And
yeah, yeah,
going back to what you were saying with regards to, people helping people, as I edit my feature film on, in my space behind me right here, I've been doing film inspiration for a long while, on and off. But I recently had kickstarted it back in, I had gotten it going, better said, back in early February, but that was mostly on YouTube. And then Zoom came back into my life. And so that's why I've had more presence now, once again, on Facebook. But here's the thing, it's not just about me yapping on and on, because what I've always, like, I've done a lot of those type of videos, but I personally don't like it when it's just about me and what I have to say. And, like, I'm not a guru of any sorts or a master of any sorts. But so because I don't like that much, what my form of helping others is this show. I love meeting Dave. You and I, we have spoken a few times over Messenger. But the thing is, I love meeting new and great people and seeing, okay, like, what can you bring to the table? Let's talk about that. What do you want to talk about, basically? And that's what I love doing, and that's how I love contributing with regards to with regards to the community, and the exposure that I'm able to maybe provide people and whatnot. So you're right. Like, there's, if we bring that attention, or if one person gets that attention on them from outside of the city, then maybe other people are going to say, well, what other filmmakers and projects are out there that are coming out of Tucson, Arizona, that we should be looking at or could be looking at?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's very fascinating and very doable too, Dave. Very doable.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm hoping, I said, I'm hoping,
Yeah.
I'd like to, I'm retired, but I would love to, more for the youngsters that are in, I say youngsters, 30, say youngster to me, 40-year-olds, you're a youngster to me. But to see if you could give these people careers in the entertainment business, that would just be like really, satisfying to me to go, hey, look, I changed your life. It wouldn't really change my life much because I'm not really looking. I just want to get it out there, but to see these youngsters that are, like I said, they got 9-to-5 gigs, and they say, hey, you don't need to do that. You're an actor now and doing this, and and so that would back to that,
Or even better, here's another thought with regards to all the technology and the platforms like YouTube, Facebook, etc. And everyone's got a cell phone, a webcam, and whatnot. Here's another thought. What if maybe they don't run off to Hollywood or Albuquerque or New York, etc. And what if they create a thing that is wildly successful, but it's through basically online presence, you know what I mean? Which is entirely possible too, because we've all, as we were talking earlier, Dave, on the phone before we went on video, there are kids that are literally 13, 14, and 15 years old, with millions of followers, getting millions of hits on videos, and they're all, putting the time. Granted, they probably have more time, energy, and whatnot. But I mean, what if they build? So what if you were responsible, or maybe at least not responsible? Maybe you had a part in somebody who found some success in some way, shape, or form of now it being online. That would make me happy to know that one of my actors or actresses said, hey, Edgar, because of that one thing we did, that got me exposure to do this other thing, and now I'm having some real success. Like, that would make me nothing but happy, if you ask me.
Right. Well, and I'll just to go back to that, I when I say build, give them a career, I'd like to give those people a career filming here in a studio in Tucson.
Yeah.
No, don't go to Albuquerque. Don't go. Don't. That's the way you bring the business back here. And if you can do we talked about this enough that I don't see YouTube as a viable money making venue for an entire production. There's too many hands, and But if you could get where, all right, you get to a point where, hey, people, you got millions of views are watching your show on YouTube, that you can get Hulu or Netflix, one of those to option you and say, hey, no, we want your stuff on ours and not there. Now you have a viable business model to pay everyone the right amount, SAG type rates, but to film it in Tucson, Arizona, no, we don't need to move it. I know Netflix has big things in Albuquerque, but no, if we can, no, we're doing it here. It was working, right? People on YouTube liked it. Why are we going to change it?
Yeah.
The only difference is where when we get done, we're delivering it to you, not to YouTube. That would be the goal, is to be, if you were somehow a little bit responsible for actually bringing the film business back to Tucson.
And why not? Because one of the great examples, going off of that, one of the great examples that I really admire, and this was back in, I think, early December or late November, Tyler Perry and the Tyler Perry Studios. You know, he bought some land, he built his studios. I mean, that's a man who has put blood, sweat, and tears into his vision. And now he's his own film.
Yeah.
I think one of, I forgot at what speech it was. Maybe it was the BET Awards, or I forgot exactly what speech it was or where he gave this speech. But he said, while everyone, you know, speaking primarily to an African American audience, he said, while everyone is, you know, fighting for a spot at the table out in Hollywood, he said, I'm over here in Atlanta building my own table.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly.
That's, you know, like that's brilliant. That's a brilliant way of thinking.
Right.
So I admire that. So why not Tucson? Why
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's, you know, that's funny because, you know, that was a grassroots attitude for a guy who was an A-list person at that, you know, A-list actor at that point, entertainer at that point.
Yep.
But, and you're right. And that's exactly how I see it. If you could get one project, you know, that could start doing 8 figures a year in income, you know, revenue, then you have, hey, do what you want to put a studio in. There's probably a couple studios already here that you could probably, you know, utilize. I mean, in Southern Arizona, for instance. But so yeah, that would, you know, to me, that's how we're going to get there. We're not going to, Hollywood's just not going to start spending hundreds of $1 millions here because we want them to. But, you know, and you know, so anyway, that's a whole different topic about the whole, you know, what the state's doing to try.
I think it's very possible, Dave. Dave, so I'm going to go ahead and cut us off. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming upon the show. Any and all information you want me to go ahead and put out in the description, that way people can take a look at your pages. The Dave, what's that? I'm sorry?
The Dave Gramling Show is a Facebook page. You can see it on YouTube, and you'll see that there's the Off-White House. There's a clip in there to let people know about that. So
go ahead and send me all that stuff that you want me to put in the description of the video. I'd definitely love to help promote you, Dave. And
I appreciate it.
Overall, just thank you so much for coming on the show, because I mean, that's what the show's about. It's just about a good, healthy chit chat with whatever value you want to bring to the table. So I really do appreciate it, Dave.
Oh, I appreciate you having me, Edgar. It was a very interesting conversation.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Dave. And I'm looking forward to doing an update episode with you. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Once we're past COVID-19 and, you know, let's see what the world is like in the near future. I definitely want to touch base with you once again and just chit chat. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds great, man.
All right. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it a lot. And I will talk to you later, my friend.
Okay. Bye-bye.